everyone.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. We're so excited to be here.
Yes, we are. Love coming Wednesdays to be able to bring you some really good trainings on the things that you guys are really most concerned about, right? And today we are talking about why people watch you but don't reach out, okay? This is really important because this is kind of twofold, right? We want to make sure that what we're going to talk about today, our messaging is really tight so people want to reach out to us. But at the same token, we also don't want to just wait for people to reach out for us, right? We want to be proactive. So, so that's really important to understand. But let's get into it. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Just going to check in our group to make sure that we're live.
We are, Kels. I can see, and I'm just looking to see if I can see any comments.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yes, I see us here too. Woohoo. We both see it.
I know.
As we know, sometimes we can't see it. Sometimes we can't see comments.
No.
Again, and if you're here, please drop a hi in the
Yes,
comments.
let us know.
Yeah, if you're live, if you're catching the replay, then drop replay. Oh, Joanne's here. What is this about? What company? Hi, Joanne. Today we're actually talking about why people watch you but don't reach out, okay? So it's all about messaging, really, that we're going to get into. And super excited to bring this on to you. Or bring this out for you. So today, again, why people are watching you but just not reaching out. And honestly, that can mess with your head a little bit, right? If am I right? Like you're like,
sure.
but I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm doing the thing. I'm getting the content out there, right? I'm talking about my problem. But people often they have to be led to water, right? Like a horse to water, right? And so that's what you have to do with your messaging. You have to make it really clear because you can feel you can feel that people are in your audience, right? They're there, they're watching your stories, they're liking your posts, they're popping up in your views, right? They're clearly paying attention. Right? But that isn't turning into messages. It's not turning into conversations, right? And it's definitely not turning into clients the way that you hoped.
Yeah, for sure.
Really hard. And before we continue, I just want to say hi to everyone.
Me too. I was just going to say, I just wanted to pop in and say hello. I see Selena's here. Rainer is here. Welcome. Joanne. Is there anybody that I've missed?
I don't think so. Oh, Mimi.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining. It's so good to see all of you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you. She said, Joanne says, okay, thank you. I can always use more knowledge for sure. Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. Welcome. Welcome. All right, Kelsey. Of course, what you were just saying, that's definitely just a frustrating place to be because from outside, it looks like something should be working. Like people are seeing you. You're not invisible. You know, your content is landing on some kind of level, but then behind the scenes, it feels kind of quiet. And that's the part that gets people questioning everything. And am I saying the wrong things? Is my mind not clear enough? Are people not interested? Should I be posting more? Do I need a whole new strategy? It's almost like we start really internalizing and gaslighting ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So if you have been in that spot, right? And let's be honest, we all have been in that spot at one time or another. Okay, let's just normalize this because this is something that a lot of people, even people that have been in the game for a really long time, still struggle with. Okay. So it's completely normal. And I just always like to normalize these things because it's important to know that we're not alone in this. Right. So if you've been in that spot where people are absolutely watching you, right? You know they're watching you, but they're not actually reaching out. Just drop watching in the comments. We just want to know if this is right for you, if this training is right for you, if it hits, right? Because we want to make sure we're talking to the right people, and this is really going to bring value to you, okay?
For sure.
So going forward, you know, you're showing up. like we said, you're posting, you're putting thought into your content, right? You're trying to be consistent and you're doing what everyone has told you to do, right? Be
Mhm.
consistent, post all the time, right? Show your face. And you see that people are there. They're liking things, they're viewing things even, or they're quietly consuming everything from the background. Because as we know, we have a lot of people that are silent in the background, but nothing is still really moving for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the part that can feel so draining because it's not like you're doing nothing. You're doing the work. You're putting yourself out there. So when there's attention but no action, it can start to feel like you're doing a whole lot of work for a very little return. I think
Yeah,
we've all been there for sure. I'm sure Kelsey and I included. A lot of people
absolutely.
end up sitting there thinking, is nobody actually messaging me? Why does it feel like I have an audience but no momentum? Why am
Mhm.
I invisible, but still not getting those conversations?
Right? And
Mhm.
sometimes that's the moment where people make it personal, right?
Mhm.
Make it personal because it is hard. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's hard
Mhm.
to be doing all the work and not getting much return out of it, right?
Absolutely.
It's frustrating, right? And you start thinking again, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe people don't want what I have to offer.
Yep.
Maybe I need to be more polished. And this is the most consistent thing that people really think about is maybe I need to change my niche, my offer, my content, my whole brand.
Oh, yeah.
And that is daunting for
Yep.
one, right? But it's really usually not the problem. And I just want to say that again, the changing your niche, changing your offer, changing your content or your whole brand is usually not the problem. It's really not what you need to do, right? It's really about getting more clear. So if it feels like you're doing all of this, right, but nothing's really moving, just drop stuck in the comments so we know that we are talking to you. Um,
Yeah.
this is
You've been
so
there.
important.
Absolutely. And here's what most people get wrong, Kels. They think silence actually means disinterest.
That's right.
But most of the time, silence doesn't not mean people don't care. Silence usually means people are maybe just a little uncertain.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Mhm.
And they're not always thinking no thanks, which is where we instantly go. That is just human nature, right? We
Right.
instantly think, oh, again, maybe I'm not giving the right offer. Maybe they're not interested in my niche, right?
Yep.
But a lot of the time, what they're really thinking is this actually for me? Right? Would this help me in my situation?
Mhm.
What happens if I message? Right? So they're like, will I just be instantly sold to, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that go in your mind. Am I really ready for this? Right? That's the
Mhm.
other thing. We like to stand in our own way. So I say this all the time because we do. We stand in our own way. We're like, oh, well, I haven't done A, B, and C yet, so I can't move to D, right?
Mhm.
And often it's not as simple as being very linear like that, right?
Right.
So that silence, people are taking that silence as personally, sorry, they're taking it personally, but often it's just hesitation because they're not understanding.
Absolutely, Kels. And that changes really everything because if silence doesn't mean that they're not interested, then the issue isn't that nobody wants what you do. The issue is that something in that path between attention and action is missing for sure.
Yeah,
And you guys, if this resonates with you and you kind of feel that, drop any kind of emoji in there. Let us know that this is landing with you guys. We definitely want to hear from you. Welcome, Susan. Suzanne, we see you're watching. Welcome. Welcome.
yeah, Leah, Joanne. I'm not sure how you say your name. So Ben, maybe.
Oh,
Sophia. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with names. My
oh,
apologies. I
yeah,
thought
I don't
probably
see
put you
that. No problem. I don't even see that person, but welcome, welcome. Some of some of them are delayed. So if I don't
Yeah,
see you or say hello, please forgive me. That is not intentional. It's just that I don't see it come through my feed. So we apologize for
exactly.
that,
Yeah.
but we'll
Facebook
definitely
is a
hit
little
you up.
wonky that way.
It is. And there's definitely a delay. So for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to go over the three reasons that really will really help you. Okay. So they don't fully, reason number one, okay? They don't fully see themselves in your message. So again,
Mm-hmm.
remember clarity, really clear, right? The first reason people don't want to reach out is exactly this, right? They kind of relate, but not deeply enough to really move forward with you. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's about seeing themselves, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
stay in the audience, they watch, they nod along, and they think this is really good, but they don't feel that sharp moment, clear moment of, wow, she's speaking to me, right? She must be in my head.
Mm-hmm.
She knows exactly what's going on, right?
For sure. For sure. And then, yeah, so Joanne puts a comment in here and says, I feel stuck because I had certain goal for this month and it's not looking like I will make it.
Mm.
We definitely have been there, Joanne. We're right there with you. I'm 63. Oh, I love that. And don't have a lot of confidence and memory issues. But I believe in the products and love helping people with products that help their health. Sorry. Oh, no apologies needed. You can write as much as we want. We love this. And
Mm-hmm.
thanks so much for being so honest about where you are in your journey. That takes a lot of bravery to share where people are sometimes. And we don't take that for granted at all in this forum or any other platform that we choose to go on. So thank you, Joanne, for sharing that.
Yeah.
We can certainly definitely understand that. As
Mm-hmm.
far and some of the memory issues, I'm right there with you. Might not be as severe, but Kelsey will tell you there's things that I can't remember. Um, um, so I feel you with that, and I can certainly empathize with that. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so thank you for that. I didn't know if there's any other comments that you've seen, Kels, that
I'm not
maybe.
seeing
Okay,
anything else at the moment, so
perfect.
perfect. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So thanks so much for reason number one. And that's just such an important distinction because content can be good and still not be specific enough to create action.
Mm-hmm.
You can be helpful, you can be smart, you can be consistent, and people still not message because they don't fully see themselves in what you're saying. They're hearing you, but they're not locating themselves inside the message. And I
Yeah.
really want to go ahead and repeat that and kind of let that land with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're hearing you, but they're not locating themselves inside the message. And that's really, really something that's so important. They really need to self identify in your messaging, in your content, and it needs to be clear. So that's something we definitely can relate with.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's like your content is almost landing, right?
Yeah,
Almost.
for sure.
But almost doesn't create movement, right? Almost doesn't create movement. So if your message is too broad, too general, too surface level, you
Mm-hmm.
stay in observer mode. And you know what? Recently, we actually been talking to a few of our clients around this subject, right?
Yeah.
And it is so common, especially when you are in a more like intangible niche, right? So, you know, maybe it's in spirituality, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's I don't even know. Of course I'm drawing a blank, but you know, those in more of those niches that are intangible, it can be really hard to think of what exactly am I solving here, right? Because that can
Right.
be actually many things. So, but to move along, you know, the people are not getting that feeling of she's exactly where I am, right? Like you are
Mm-hmm.
reading my mind. She knows what I am struggling with.
Yep.
What are the thoughts you want them to be thinking? Okay. She has the words for the thing I haven't been able to explain. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. That one actually really hits for me because I had
Mm-hmm.
that in coaching myself.
Yep.
I have had that where someone was able to really pinpoint the exact struggle that I was having, but I didn't understand it enough to really put it into words, right? And it's that level of renaissance that is what starts conversations,
Yep.
right?
For
It
sure.
starts conversations, and that is an important thing.
Yeah, because people reach out when they feel understood, not inspired, not entertained, just not even just vaguely encouraged. It's understood. So if your content feels like it's almost landing, but not quite, drop an almost in the comments and let me know if you guys are feeling this. Real quick,
Right?
Kels, before we move on. Anna Maria joined us. Welcome. She's saying so good with a bunch of hearts. Deborah
Awesome.
Titcomb Mallet joined us. She said, love that. Thank you for sharing.
Awesome.
Oh, we're so excited to have you guys here joining us. Thank you so much. I just wanted to call those out.
Absolutely.
And then still moving on to reason number 2. Let's talk about reason number dos. There is no clear step. The second reason, it's so simple, but it matters so much. There's no clear step. And when people don't know what to do next, they do nothing. And this is where so many good posts fall flat. You say something valuable. We've been there, Kels. Your people agree with it. They connect with it. They maybe even need help.
Yeah.
But then the post just ends. And this is something really important. There's no direction, no invitation, no bridge into action. So what happens inevitably is people move on. And that's not because they're not interested. It's because people really do need clarity. They do need to know, what should I do now? Should I comment? Should I message? Should I ask for that freebie? Should I join the thing? Should I reply to the story? If that step isn't obvious, most people won't make one up for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to go back to something you said that I think is super important for everyone to understand, right? Is when the post ends, there's no direction, right? They don't know what to do. So remember what I said at the very beginning of this live, right? We need to lead a horse to water, right?
Yep.
We have to have that direction or that invitation or some kind of bridge into action, right? Because if we just leave it lie there, then people don't know what to do next, right?
That's right.
So people just need simple. They need simple. And this is another thing. Don't go fancy. Don't try to make your product sound like, something out of a fantasy novel, right? Like we're trying to be really, really clear, right?
Yep.
That is what moves the needle, is clarity. So not 10 options, not vague hints towards what it is, right?
No.
And not even link in bio without context behind it, right? So we just need one clear action for them to take the next move, right?
That's right.
So, it could be like, comment this or message me this word. Tell me you want it. Reply and I'll send it over, right? These are examples of things of how you can really bring that call to action, right?
Right.
That level of clarity really makes people move. And it's easy, right? But it's important. It's important. So because people are warm, they will stay passive.
Right.
If the next step is unclear, right? So you have a warm audience, right? We have cold audience, warm audience, hot audience, right?
Yep.
And even though the warm, they know you, they've seen the things, they are, again, going to stay passive, right? Because they don't know what to do. It's unclear, it's awkward, it's too big. They just don't know. So tell us honestly, just drop clear if you are clear, if you feel like you're actually clearly telling people what to do next in your content, right? If you feel like you are doing that, drop clear. I think that's just so important to understand, right? What is the next step that I want to lead people to? We talk about this all the time in our programs and in our events, right?
Yep. And in our membership.
Yeah, in our membership. And what is that next step?
That's right.
What is the client journey? So every time you put out content, right? First off, the content needs to be clear in direction and who you're talking to, what you're solving, so on and so forth, right? But you need to think about where am I trying to take these people, right? What is that journey? What is that next step that I want them to take? If you're not clear on it, they will not be clear on it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Real quick, I got some feedback here for us that I want to share out. Anna Marie's like, numero deux. She's my people. I love her already. All right, Selena, she said, yes, the clear message and call to action is important. Absolutely. And then Anna
Yeah.
Maria says, I believe it's the moment of reality for them. And then she put a heart emoji. Love, and she said, love that, lead a horse to water. Absolutely. And Joanne says, this is great info. Thank you. Absolutely. And then Anna Maria, she dropped a clear for us in the comments, Kels. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys. We really appreciate your input and your feedback for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely wanted to take a quick little pause and share some of the thoughts that are coming into our community before you go on to reason number 3.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, reason number 3, guys. Okay. Reason number 3. And so reason number 3 is you are not bridging into conversation. You are not bridging into conversation. This is a big one. Okay. People are not becoming clients from content alone. Right. And I kind of spoke to this at the beginning a little bit, right? That
Yep.
we can't just passively wait around for people to contact us, just like we don't want people to passively be watching our content and not moving forward, right? So it goes both ways. And if we're not bridging the conversation, then a lot of other people will not as well, right? People are not becoming clients from your content alone, right?
Nope.
The content really builds awareness. The content builds authority, right? It builds know, like, and trust because they're hearing you. If you're doing it right, they're seeing themselves in your content.
That's right.
But conversations is what creates clients. Okay.
Say that again for the people in the back of the room, Cal. Say that again. I love this.
Conversations create clients. This is one of the most important things that you can take out of this today is conversations create clients, guys, right?
Absolutely.
We can't sit there passively.
That's it. For sure. And Joanne, thank you so much for saying that this info is great. Thank you for being here and being a part of our community. We so appreciate you and everyone who else is joining and lending input. We really appreciate it. Okay, so as Kelsey led with, conversations create clients for sure. And that's the part people miss. They think if they just keep posting enough, eventually people will magically start reaching out. Sometimes that happens. Hey, there are exceptions to all the rules, but most of the time, what actually moves things is conversation, real connection, back and forth, real human interaction.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. And that is so important because the content is really warming people up, right? People come into your world, they're cold, your content starts warming them up. It gets attention, it gets familiarity, right? It builds trust over time, right? But if nobody is opening the door into an actual conversation, everything can stay stuck at that awareness stage, right? This is another thing that we talk about all the time is a funnel, right? Are the people in your audience at the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, right? We're keeping them at the awareness stage, but it's not moving them anywhere, right? And that's where a lot of people live for way, way, way too long, right? They feel visible, but they're not converting. They feel seen, but they're not selling, right? They're posting, but they're not progressing.
Absolutely, Kels. And I'll go ahead and start mine, but we do have some comments that we need to get to in just a bit. But I do want to make sure that we keep this going for you because, like you said, they're posting but not progressing. And that's a lot of the hesitation here is personal. People think, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to bother anyone. I don't know what to say. I don't want it to sound weird or forced. So instead of starting conversations with warm people who are already watching, they just wait and wait and wait some more. Meanwhile, the people who are already interested stay where they are watching, not because they're a bad lead or not because they're never going to buy, but because no one bridged the gap. That bridge matters. And bridging doesn't have to be awkward. It doesn't have to be salesy, and it doesn't have to feel heavy. It can be natural, simple, and human. And that's actually what changes things for sure.
It really, really does, right? And, I'll be completely transparent here. At the beginning of my journey, I thought, kind of like the field of dreams, like you build it, they will come, right?
Right.
Right.
Wrong.
I was wrong. And I stayed
not quite
there.
The same. Yeah.
Right. I stayed there for a couple of years. I'll be completely honest. I didn't understand. Right. So again, normalizing the situation. So let's be honest here in the comments. do you feel confident starting conversations with people that are already watching in your content? This is another place where a lot of our clients have had issues in, right? How do you bridge that gap? How do
Yeah.
I go from comments to DMs? How do I really start a conversation?
Yep.
Right?
Deborah asked the same thing. She said, number 3 is the hardest for sure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then Selena wants to know, yes, but how do we start the conversation? We're going to talk a little bit about that. So hang on for sure.
Yeah.
Selena, we're definitely going to keep talking about that. Great questions, great input. Thanks so much for sure. Oh, let's see if there's anything. Sure, conversation is everything. Yep, Damaris, I know. Hi, welcome, Damaris. So nice to see you.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so let's put this together. You don't need more visibility just for the sake of visibility.
Nope.
You do not need to keep pumping out random content, hoping something finally lands. You need more connection.
Yes, more connection. And connection happens through, what do you think? Conversation, right?
That's right.
Connection happens through conversation. That there is the shift, you guys. That there is the shift, right? Not more noise, not more performing just to perform, right? Not more posting to stay consistent. Although, of course, that is important, right? But really, it's more connection, it's more clarity, it's
For
more
sure.
conversations with the right people.
Say that again, Kels.
More conversations with the right people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. And Damaris says, short conversation is everything. So, because attention on its own, guys, means very little if nothing turns into movement. What matters is helping people go from I'm watching her to I'm ready to talk.
Yes, yes. Drop an emoji, any emoji, if this really shifted something for you, if you understand, oh my goodness, I need to bridge that gap, right? I need to start the conversation, right? So, and honestly, this is exactly why we made something super simple for you guys. Okay.
Yep.
So going back to, but how do I start the conversation to Selena's question, right? Because this is, like I said, this is where a lot of people get stuck, right? And it's not because you're lazy, right? You're stuck because you don't know how to open up that conversation naturally, right? And I say this to all of our clients. It's funny because being online seems so different than being in person, right? But really, I always say, I use this analogy. Imagine if you were just walking up to someone, you saw, let's say across the street, you saw someone that was wearing or has a purse that you absolutely adore, right? You cross the street, you stop the person because you're like, oh my gosh, where did you get that purse? I want that purse, right? It's funny how that is a complete stranger, but we can bridge that conversation. But online, we forget how to do that, right? We forget how to just open up with something. So that is a really important. I use that analogy because when we can put it in real time of what like you might do, and maybe it's not a purse, maybe whatever, maybe you're sitting in a restaurant and you kind of overhear someone's conversation, right? But you get what I'm saying. We naturally know what to say. So, but to help you guys with this, we have made our plug and play DM openers for you to start conversations, right?
That's right.
This guide is to be used when someone is watching your content, engaging a little, or maybe they're just sitting quietly in your world. You see them popping up live on different trainings you do, that kind of thing, right?
That's right.
But you want to open up conversation with them, right? Without sounding awkward or pushy. So we keep it super simple, guys. Keeping it natural. And this is the best thing and the most important thing is connection first, right? We don't get into conversation and just start selling to people. We don't even know if they are ICA or not at this point, right? We don't know. So we just need to start conversation and let that move forward naturally.
Absolutely. So Selena, this is for you, this wonderful guide. You're asking, how can we start those conversations? Our plug and play DN openers guide is so helpful because sometimes the hardest part is not knowing what to say without overthinking it. You sit there staring at the screen, wondering, how do I start this? How do I make this feel normal? How do I not sound out awkward? And how do I open a conversation without making it weird? And when you have something simple to lean on, it takes all that pressure off. And by the way, this is you being able to attract the right people, like Deb, like was it Joanna said, or Debbie
Right.
said, the
Yeah.
right people is the key. And she's absolutely right about that. And having this DM guide is definitely one of the ways to start bridging those relationships and attracting the right people.
Exactly, exactly. These are there so you're not sitting in hesitation, right? We
Yep.
talk about our ideal client sitting in hesitation. Well, we often do the same thing, right? We sit there going, what do I do now? Right? So this is going to really help you with bridging that, stop
Yep.
overthinking every single word, right? Stop thinking that it needs to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to be human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stop talking yourself out of reaching out.
That's right.
Right? This is important because we do this often. It's like, oh, should I reach out to them? Oh, maybe I shouldn't. What should I say? Right? So we don't want to be talking ourselves out of reaching out. What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen, right? They say, I'm not interested or I don't want to talk. Like, so you just move on, right? It's not a big deal. Not a big
thank
deal.
you and wish them well. And,
exactly. Right?
Thank you so much for, thank you for your time.
Exactly.
Best of luck in your business.
Yeah. So you can just open the conversation in a way that feels natural with this guide. Okay.
That's right.
So if you want the plug and play DM openers, just drop DM.
Yep.
And we'll, after this live, we'll send that over to you.
Yeah. Drop a DM in the comments if you want the guide, guys.
Exactly. There's no opt-in for this. Okay.
Nope.
This is just, we're just giving this to you. So if you want it, just drop DM in the comments.
Yeah. We want to help you guys move those conversations along for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to go deeper than just the opener, DM opener, that awesome guide that we put together, if you actually want to fix the root of why people are actually watching but not moving, this is where the bigger shift happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens because this is not just about sending more messages, right? So this is, of course, we need to bridge that gap, start conversations, but it's also about making your message clearer, making your positioning stronger, right? And making your content hit harder. And the only way we can do that is by strengthening, right, our USP, our unique sales proposition, right?
Yep.
We want to make people actually see themselves in what you do. When they see themselves, they connect. They connect with you. They feel like you know exactly what they're needing, wanting, right? So your content, you don't want your content to just get attention, right? We want it to start conversations. So that's what Cindy's going to tell you about next.
Yeah, that's why we're inviting you into our 3-day unique sales proposition mini training, because when your message is clear and your positioning is strong, everything gets easier. People understand what you do faster. They see who it's for faster. They connect the dots faster, and they're way more likely to reach out for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Right. So if you want the details on this new mini training, right, and you really want to tighten that content, your positioning, this isn't just your I help statement, guys.
No.
It goes over your I help statement. It goes over your helping you create your unique frameworks, right? What really makes you do what you do differently, right? It goes over even how to open up conversations using your unique positioning, right?
That's right.
And so much more, guys, right? And this is going to help you once you really dial this in. It'll help you create better content that make people want to reach out, right? Or engage more, giving you the signals, right, to start that conversation. So if this sounds really interesting to you and you want to check it out, it's dropping on Monday. Just drop mini in the comments.
Yep.
And we will send that over to you, send the details over to you.
Yep. Joanne said details, please, and thank you. And she also hit DM. So we'll make sure we get that for you. And Damaris wants the DMs, the DM guide, as does Deborah. We will make sure we get them all to you for sure. Thanks, guys. We'll make sure we do that.
Yeah.
Listen, this is such a different story than what most people tell themselves. It's not, no one wants it. It's not, I'm a bad at content. It's not, I need to disappear and start over. It's usually just what people need: more clarity, more direction, and more connection before they move.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. So the answer isn't always more content, right?
Nope.
Sometimes the answer is better conversation, right?
Yep.
And sometimes the answer is saying things in a
Yep.
way that people can actually see themselves in,
Yep.
right? Again, that is so important. Can they see themselves in there? And let me just make this one kind of pro tip, right? We often assume what they feel, our audience feels, because we were once that avatar, right? Because usually we teach on something that we were once in, right? A position we were once in. But what I want you to think about is how they are putting it into their own words, okay? Because what happens, especially as coaches, service providers, so on and so forth, when we're teaching a thing, we get kind of teachy words, coachy words, right? That people don't resonate with because they're not in that space. So we have to kind of dial back, go back, and think about what people are actually, how they're actually self-identifying, right? So yeah, and sometimes the answer really is just making that next step obvious, right?
Yep.
And sometimes, again, the answer is simply being willing to open up that conversation instead of waiting for people to magically do it first.
Yep, that's right. And that's where momentum starts, not with more noise, but with more connections. And for those of you who hit mini like Deborah, we'll make sure we get those training details out to you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely. So we're going to leave you, actually, no, we're not going to leave you quite yet, but I want to kind of leave you with a few things to remember, right? Attention does not create clients, conversations do. Okay. And the people watching you are not the problem, the missing bridges, right? So again, more connection is what we want, more clarity, more conversations, because those three things are what really move people.
Absolutely. So again, just a quick reminder to drop DM if you want our guide to start conversations today. Drop the word mini if you want the details for the upcoming mini training that's going to be released on Monday. We hope that you got value from today. If you did, please drop us an emoji to let us know. We appreciate you joining us. Again, so next week, guys, I want to share with you guys, join us for next Wednesday for our free 90-minute workshop entitled Free Female Coaches and Service Providers Can Create More Consistent Income Through a Simple Facebook Client Attraction System. Until next time, have a great rest of your week. And thanks so much for joining us today. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.